welcome to this edition of A Walk Down Memory Lane. I'm your host, Earl Baisden. Joining me this evening is our para-Olympian Jessica Lewis, who just recently competed in the International Para-Athletics Championships in Dubai. Jessica, first of all, welcome. Um, Take us through the plan that you had prior to the Grand Prix of what you were looking to achieve once you arrived in Dubai.
Yeah, so it's still February, so it's still kind of really early in the season for me to be competing. But I got my new racing chair at the end of last year. So we wanted to get a race in under our belts with the chair early on so that we knew if the chair was working right, if we needed to make any changes going forward, just because this is such a busy year with World Championships and then the Pan American Games. So kind of going there, I wasn't putting a lot of expectations on myself, which in one sense is very hard to do because I always put expectations. But it was definitely just to go there and see where we're at with the new chair and this early on in the season.
Sure. Now you get this new chair. Measurements are one thing because they always measure you and look to make sure that they get it right and so forth. But that doesn't always work out exactly, does it?
No.
What did you find when you first sat in this chair? What did you find different about the old chair compared to this new one?
So the new one is definitely a little bit lighter in the front end because it has the carbon fiber fork as well as the steering, which is definitely different from my old chair. And that took off about a pound of the chair. So it's definitely a lot lighter in that sense. And also the positioning that I'm in is definitely a lot different. In my old chair, we used cushions to kind of find the position that we wanted to get this new chair in. So I did have a little bit of time in that position, but it's definitely different now in a frame that's actually built in that position, just because it's a lot more rigid and solid. So this one, my knees are a lot tighter, which is awesome. And I've got a strap in the front of my knees as well now that holds me in the chair more. So I definitely feel a lot more secure. And then it's just kind of getting used to that position as well as having a lighter chair.
Sure. So, okay, ideas, plans, talking over with coaching, talking over with yourself. You're heading off to Dubai. You get there. Day one. Day one was, and all your events were straight finals because you have the. Before we get to that, I want to talk to you about how they're classifying your class now because they it looks as if they've combined the T52 and the T53. Is that correct?
No, they're still separate, but at some competitions, if there isn't a lot of people in one class, they'll put them together just so that you're racing against other people. But usually at the bigger events, they'll still keep them separated.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's good. That's good. So let's talk about the 800. You're on, first up, and generally it always seems to be this particular race first in most competitions. Why do you think it's like that? The longer races first, are they just setting everybody up for those sprints
Yeah.
at the end of the competition?
Yeah, maybe. I think I kind of like it that way just because, like, I know the 800 isn't like my best event. So it gives me the chance to get those nerves out in a race that was just like, hey, go out there, have fun, like, use it for training. So I think it's definitely good that the 800 is always first. And I found in that race that I definitely was dying about 600 meters in. But that was all part of the training that we were doing leading up to it, is that we're focusing a lot more on the sprinting part. So it definitely kind of translated into that race, but I still enjoyed it and had a good time.
Sure. Now, how did you find the track? Was it, I know we spoke about it last year or the last time you competed. They have a pretty fast track. So did you find it was faster this time around, and with the lighter chair, does it become a more challenge for you?
Yeah, so I definitely think it's still a really great track, and it is fast. But this time around, it definitely felt a lot windier, which again is kind of the downfall with me being my size and now having the lighter chair. Makes a big difference for that in that sense. But the surface of the track was awesome, and it was really cool to be back there competing.
Sure. Now we're going to take a look at that particular race. They held you guys there for a long time. I mean,
They
I
did,
cut, I cut a lot of it short, but you guys were on that start line for close to a minute and a half to 2 minutes. What was going on?
So I actually thought about that after that there was a long break between like the on your marks and go. And I think one of the reasons is they had, I mean, at every race they do this, they have somebody that goes through the different lanes to make sure that everybody's like on the line properly and that kind of thing. So I think it just took a little bit longer for them to do that. And I think that's kind of the only reason. And of course, you get in your head with an 800 because it's only the 2 commands. So you're like already tensing up when they say on your marks, and then your arms are shaking and you're like, oh my gosh, just stay still until the gun goes.
But we see you here. I mean, you're done 300 there, and you're thinking, you got to be thinking, I'm going to do this again.
Yeah, I am. And we always laugh because for some reason in an 800 meter, I never like hear the bell. So we always have a joke that I'm like, there's not a bell in this race, but everyone's like, there is. And I think with this race, I think it was the first time I've actually heard the bell because as you can see, we're so spaced out that bell was just kept ringing instead of like the one time. So.
And where did you find most challenging in the wind aspect? Because you're going down the backstretch, you're coming down the front, the home stretch now. So where was the wind coming from on that backstretch?
On the backstretch, yeah. So it was nice to end on a tailwind, but I was definitely gassed, so it didn't pick up as well as I hoped. But
yeah. Just so okay. So now you know. You know you have another race the very next day, and it is probably your favorite of all. So what are some of the things you're looking to do? Now you clocked 2:04.49 in that particular race that we just watched, but what are you looking to do recovery-wise to ensure you have the best possible opportunity for that 100 the very next day?
Yeah. So immediately after that race, I went and I got a snack, made sure that I ate to kind of refuel that. And then I just made sure that when I got back, I had an early night's rest. And which was a little bit tough because I was still getting used to the time change. So I ended up waking up at like 1 a.m. till like 4 and then managed to fall back asleep again. But luckily the races were at night there just because of the heat. So I had all that day to kind of relax and make sure that I was ready to go.
Yeah. So let me ask you, what type of athlete are you when it comes to that? You know you got to wait all day because generally in major meets, you would have a heat in the morning, you'll come back in the afternoon for the finals kind of thing. But these were straight finals. So you know there's competition going on all day. You have to kind of distract yourself. But what type of athlete are you when you know you have an entire day off and you need to figure out what you got to do?
It's very, very tough because I'm definitely a morning person. I'd rather get up and get it done and not have all day to think about it. But I just try and distract myself by, doing something else like reading or watching a show or talking with friends, that kind of thing, so that I'm not thinking about it all day long because I can go down the rabbit hole pretty quick with thinking about races. So yeah, it's just trying to find ways to distract myself.
Sure. Well, what we're going to do, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to look at that 100 meters. We'll be right back.
Okay.
putting down the weapons.
You seeing this? John Barrett & Son is bringing us something fresh and exciting for the new year. Vi Antioxidant Infusion Beverage. Vi delivers the natural antioxidant benefits of the coffee fruit in glorious combination with a variety of exotic fruit flavors, with only 1 gram of sugar and 10 calories per bottle. The folks at Vi are inviting us on a world tour through these amazing flavors. Brasilia blueberry, Zambia Bing cherry, Costa Rica clementine, Malawi mango, Panama peach, Ipanema pomegranate, Kupang strawberry kiwi, and more. Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends, and that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
And welcome back. Well, Jess, the very next day, you're on the start line for this 100. Another day of another start that took a while. Everybody running down the track or pushing down the track and coming back and so forth. You kind of got yourself settled. What was going through your mind for this particular race?
So for this one, I was really hoping that there would be a tailwind, but it was a pretty strong head and crosswind. So I was just trying to tell myself, you can't do anything about the wind. Just get in there and push as hard as you can, and just knowing that whatever was going to happen was going to happen.
And I was you're always a good starter. And what did you think of the start that you got in this particular race?
I thought the start was really good, and then about 50 meters down the track is when the crosswind started kicking in a little bit. So I was kind of not fighting my chair, but a little bit just trying to keep it straight in the lane, as well as kind of power through. And one of the things that we've kind of found being out on the track is that the push rim size that I'm on, I'm not really, getting fully to the bottom just because of the new position that we're in. It's raised up my seat as well as my shoulders. And that's something that we didn't really notice a lot on the roller, just because the roller is completely different than when you're racing on a track. So we are actually trying a smaller size push rim so that I can kind of get to the bottom a little bit more, where the power can be a little bit better.
Sure.
Yeah.
Were you surprised to see the Chinese? Because I've been to several of the events that you've been through, and even watched a few of them as well, and they very rarely show up. But I was like, they're there. What's going on? Are they getting ready to retire or something? Because they never show up until it's the major games. But here they are. Here they were.
I know when the list finally came out of who was all there, and I saw them that they were going to be there, I was like, oh my goodness, that's a first. And I was actually surprised. The girl Zhao, I thought she had actually retired after Tokyo. So I'm not really sure what's happening there, and she doesn't speak a lot of English, so I wasn't really able to ask her. But yeah, so I was pretty surprised with that. So I'm thinking maybe she just has retired from major games and is still doing races, or I don't know, maybe she changed her mind.
1771 in February. Good time for you?
Decent.
Yeah.
I wasn't too thrilled with it, but
Right.
yeah, I'm kind of just trying to take it in stride that, this is the first race, and there's going to be a lot more room for improvement down the line.
Sure. But when you look at what you're trying to achieve, you have all these obstacles in your way. And when I say obstacles, I'm talking about the new chair not being able to generate as much power and so forth. But on the reality side, I mean, you always want to do your best. You always want to do better than what you actually do. So what was one of the things your coach said to you after this particular race, knowing what the challenges were?
Yeah, he was just saying like he wasn't worried that this is the first of the season, and still getting used to the chair as well as the huge headwind that we had, and so it was just kind of trying to calm me down a little bit because I was a little anxious after that, but he just said, you know what, if we had that race, it's done now, and let's move on and get ready for the next, and just have faith in the training process that we're doing. And when we come back, we will, try the different push rim size and go from there as well.
Sure. Well, looking at the overall performance in that particular race, I mean, like you said, you got that good start, but then when that crosswind came in, how do you adjust, because you've got a crosswind and you know that the front of your bike is a lot lighter than usual. So are you now leaning more forward to keep the weight as far forward as possible to keep that front wheel down on the track?
Yeah, and I'm also adjusting the compensator a little bit more as well. So when I'm pushing, I'm stronger on my right side. So my compensator is kind of set a little bit off. So my front wheel actually isn't fully straight. And that's just to help compensate to keep me straighter. So when there is a crosswind, I'll adjust it a little bit more, just so I know if I'm going to be going to my left a little bit more, then I need to adjust it a little bit more to keep it straight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I learned something new.
Yeah.
Something new. What we're going to do, we're going to take another commercial break. When we come back, we'll actually take a look at the final race that you competed in, which was the 400. We'll be right back.
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends, and that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
Putting down the weapons.
You seen this?
Here's one of our favorite feature brands, true veterans of the food awareness movement. Bob's Red Mill, the U.S. leading miller of organic whole grain foods. Only whole grains have the entire value developed during growth. And once you try them, you know that this is the way food was intended to be. Try Bob's Red Mill blanched almond, whole wheat pastry, and artisan bread flours, and 1-to-1 gluten-free baking flour, unsweetened shredded coconut, gluten-free homemade wonderful bread mix, and a variety of rolled oats. Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
And welcome back. Well, Jess, final day, and it's the 400. Once around that track, What was special about this particular race for you?
Well, it was a personal best, so that made it amazing, and it definitely a great way to end off the competition there.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at it, you're saying to yourself, I want to do something special on this final day. And of course, it's the 400. Did you have it in your mind that you wanted to go out and achieve a personal best in this particular race?
I didn't really have it like set in my mind, knowing that I could, pull off a personal best. My goal was just to kind of go out there and see how well I could hold a higher speed, and for how long I could hold it. The wind conditions were definitely a lot better, so I didn't really have that on my mind, which was good. And it was just kind of make sure that you continually accelerate throughout the whole thing.
58, 12. What was your previous best? You remember?
58, 52.
Oh, okay. So we're working towards the 50, 57 mark
Yeah.
sometime this season.
Yeah, I hope so.
Sure. But looking at this particular race, I mean, again, you finished fifth, but looking at your personal best times, and we're still only in February when this took place, must be a good sign for the coach to say we're on the right track.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, it's good that we know that, the training is working, because we're gearing a lot of our training more to the sprint side of things, and getting quicker in that. So it's definitely showing that the training is working. We just have to continue to trust in that process and just tweak a few little things, and it'll get a lot faster.
Sure. So tell us what's on the cards for the remainder of the season.
So I actually leave on Monday to go to Florida for 3 weeks. We're doing a training camp with the Canadian team, which I'm really looking forward to. And then after that, I will be in Canada for April for training. And then we head to Switzerland in May. We're actually going back to Arbonne this year, which is a really, really fast track. So I'm really excited for that. And then into Knottwil, which is where we always go every year. So that'll be a great racing series there. And there'll probably just be some local meets in Canada in June, and then World Championships in July in Paris.
All right. So busy year.
Yes.
Busy time ahead.
Yeah.
What we'll do is we'll stay in touch to make sure that everything is going well, and make sure that Bermuda understands what you're going through and what you need. Maybe, a little Bermuda flag in the stands will make you,
Exactly.
make you go a lot faster sometimes, doesn't it?
Yep.
Even if it's one.
Yep.
Even if it's one, because the thing is, and it's remarkable because no matter where you go, you always find someone either that's been to Bermuda or worked in Bermuda or from Bermuda, somewhere near wherever we have athletes competing, and that's something that I even in Tokyo we were leaving the triathlon, and it was a couple standing on the sidewalk, just standing there, and said, "Hey, we used to work in Bermuda, and we left last year," and it's like, wow, and now you're in Tokyo.
Yeah.
But those are the type of things that are really, really special, and apparently they were out on the road with their flag out and so forth.
Oh, wow.
So just knowing that somebody's near that could actually lift you and other athletes. So that's what we're hoping we can encourage.
Definitely. I know in Dubai, there was 3 people that taught in Bermuda as well. Unfortunately, our schedules didn't match up for the races for them to come, but it was. They came in 2019 when we were there, so it's cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, good luck in your training camp. I'll stay in touch with you.
Thank you.
And we'll again, we'll look out and ensure that our Paralympian and others that are Paralympians are recognized for what they're able to do. So, thank you very much for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Have a good night. Okay.
You too.
All right.